A bombshell new book is sure to cause political headaches for Donald Trump. Investigative journalist Bob Woodward, who is world famous for his reporting on the Watergate scandal back in the 1970s, is set to release his new book, War. This book dives deep into Biden, Trump, and their handling of global conflicts. But the book also reveals new details about Trump and particularly his relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. According to the book, Trump secretly sent COVID-19 testing equipment to Putin during the pandemic. Woodward writes that Putin asked Trump to keep the shipment of this equipment quiet. Woodward's book also details multiple phone calls between Trump and Putin since Trump left office in 2021. Trump has allegedly had as many as 7 calls with Putin after 2021, according to Woodward's book. In one scene in the book, which is described by American media organizations who have managed to get access to Woodward's book, Trump asked a senior aide to leave the room so he could have a private conversation with Putin. Now, Trump has denied the reports in the book and has termed them false. Trump's aides have also denied that they were aware of any of these calls. His spokesperson, Stephen Chung, claimed that Trump gave absolutely no access to Woodward for the book. He even called the story in the book made up. Now, this comes as Trump has faced strong criticism from Kamala Harris and the Democrats for his relationship with Putin. Trump has in the past praised the Russian dictator. He called Putin savvy and a genius for his invasion of Ukraine in 2022. And he did it again in a 2024 interview with Elon Musk. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has turned this record against Trump and attacked him in their only presidential debate. She criticized him for sacrificing America's national interests in the interest of his friendship with Putin. But could these latest revelations have an impact on the outcome of the election on November 5th? Joining us now is our White House correspondent Rohit Sharma to help us decode what's happening with this latest scandal. Rohit, thank you so much for joining us. These revelations in this book by Bob Woodward, what exactly do they tell us?
Well, very interesting revelations, if you were to call them. I mean, look, yesterday we were talking about if there's going to be an October surprise, and could this well be an October surprise? We'll only have to wait and find out. But the book comes out October 15, and Bob Woodward is obviously known, one of the renowned journalists. I mean, it's still, dishing out details from within the White House, and he's been covering White House since the 70s. I mean, so he obviously has a lot of credibility when he says something, and when he says the fact that President Trump's made at least 7 phone conversations with President Vladimir Putin after he's left the White House. That obviously is going to raise some eyebrows. And the fact that he offered and he in fact ended up sending COVID testing kits to Putin might not, sit well with some of the independent voters.
And Rohit, could you also tell us how voters are going to respond to this new controversy? Is it really uncommon to be friends with leaders of foreign countries? Although I imagine Vladimir Putin is very, very different than most foreign leaders.
Well, it's an uncharted territory in the sense that, yes, you can. I mean, you are, as a private citizen of the United States, you could have, friendships, or you could have conversations with world leaders. I mean, it's not an unknown in the sense of, like, we know there have been cases where, for example, President Clinton, once he left office, he's obviously met with a lot of government leaders across the nation, across the world. So yes, in a way, I think it's not uncommon. But the fact that, when your first presidential campaign in 2016, I'm talking about Trump here, was essentially surrounded by these allegations of his relations with Russia and what he ended up doing in Russia, and Russia trying to help him win the election, which he actually did in 2016. And the fact that now he's touting that he has such a cordial relationship with Vladimir Putin that he could just get him on the phone and end the war, kind of tells you that there is some sense of camaraderie, if you were to use that word, between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. And again, that could be understood by the Trump orbit or the Russians. But will that translate, or would that understanding translate into the voters, and would they be able to understand that? I think that's the large question. Today, again, with those all revelations, we also saw some revelations from the Biden's time in the White House. And so the campaign, the Harris campaign, did not latch onto it as quickly as you would assume it. But, in the coming days, you'll probably see some of the surrogates talking about this as we move ahead in this election cycle.